for about 10 minutes.
Good.
Got to do another conference call, y'all.
Yeah.
I already know.
Yeah, no, this was man, this was about mentoring, man. Something I'm real passionate about. Like, just cause, kind of once I got out of high school and got away from the normal, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was lost, fellas. Like, I didn't have no clue what I wanted to do. Just living day to day type stuff, man. Just out there in the world, just going with the wind, just whatever. So I kind of just settled down with my wife, and she kind of gave me a vision that I was working at Home Depot, right? So I'm just working at Home Depot, just working, I was gonna go up the ladder and just do that little thing. I was like, man, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, man. Like, this ain't gonna be fun for me. I want to do something where I'm gonna be making some kind of impact. And I kind of had that conversation with her. She's like, why don't you become a coach and teach? I kind of thought about it, sat on it for a little bit, like, man, you know what? Like, why not? But I enjoyed coaching. I was doing like little personal stuff on the side with some kids in my neighborhood, kind of helping them through football and that kind of stuff. But I got to a point where I really settled down and decided to teach and coach. I selected a field a subject I wanted to coach, and went and did that thing. So, fast forward, whatnot. So I believe that this is my calling, to teach, to coach. I'm exactly where I need to be. And I think teaching is probably one of the best jobs in the world, because we got immediate impact with kids. We are their influence. We influence them either a good way or a bad way. So, that's why I kind of wanted to, talk to y'all about this mentoring. Either you know it or not, some kids are watching you. Okay, I want to give back, and I think it's as men, we have life experiences that we need to share that. Mentoring ain't nothing but all you're doing is giving advice, and you're helping somebody better themselves and grow. You're already doing that right now, whether you know it or not. And this can start in the home right now. We got little ones, you got nephews that's growing up and about to get into the world. I know Drew and Herb got some cousins about to go off and do the college thing. Ron, we got small kids that we need to be bringing up. Once they leave our house, they need to be prepared for the world before they leave. I'm preparing my children now because I only got them for 18 years in my house, and once they're gone, they're gone. So we need to make sure we send them out there with the right tools that they can use once they go out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So again, all it is giving advice. So all that can mean is you sharing your experience. What I really wanted to touch on is mentoring young men, young-minded men like us. Growing up, I didn't have a mentor, like I said, until I got out of college, is when I really focused on who do I need to start looking up to? Who's doing the right things I can look up to?
Yeah.
So, anybody want to chime in? I'm sorry. Yeah, so I figured out who can I look up to. So I looked up to the wrong people. Don't get me wrong. I looked up to the wrong team, wrong people. When I hit rock bottom. I went to jail for 10 days, bro. 10 days. That's because I didn't have no guidance. I didn't know who to follow. I was following the wrong people. I had to hit rock bottom to realize I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this situation again. Okay, so when I'm talking about mentor, again, all this is sharing your experiences with kids. It could be the good, the bad, the ugly. You don't have to try to be perfect. They know you're not perfect. Only one man was perfect in his world. That was Jesus Christ.
That's it.
Okay, so
I chime in just real fast. I'm gonna have to jump off here in a minute. When you talk about mentoring, man, and you say, like you said, of course, I'm a teacher and a coach now. So, of course, we got every single day that we're able to touch kids because they always watch you. They like how you move. Right. They look at how you dress. They look at how you talk. And I guess the thing for me, I try not to be a hypocrite, okay, or contradict myself. And like you said, first coming out of college, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach, coach, do all that, but that wasn't the path I took.
Right.
I was lucky enough to be able to work in juvenile detention for 6 years, 7 years. Y'all, Dean know, because Dean was my coworker. So,
Yeah.
and that's crazy. And so, just being able to be around those boys who thought they were at the rock bottom as teenagers. Now, could you reach them all? Absolutely not. You know, but all you could do is try to give them examples, give them your life experiences. And oddly enough, man, some of my juvies, man, I still talk to till today. And they in their 20s. Now I say, hey, they still talk and say, well, they want to, watch over what's good, baby, want to talk. Some of them got their own families of their own. But I look at it like, well, at least I had some type of an impact on them for them to want to go out there and do good. Now, did you reach all of them? Oh, absolutely not. Some of them are in TDC, you know what I mean? In prison. But like you were saying, Lewis, that all you want to do is try to be an example and have somebody to look up to. Like for me, I mean, I had a bunch of people to look up to, my pops, my uncles, who I hold dear, like my Uncle Archie. Y'all know Uncle Archie. And that's, he was one of the guys, I still call him to this day, one of my biggest mentors and influencers. And I still call him when I need some advice about different things. And then looking at the guys on this screen, you see what I'm saying? We all had different paths, but you can be mentored by your friends as well, by seeing the path they took, what they've done right, things they've done wrong. Could you tell me about, okay, I've done this wrong. Can you tell me a little bit about how you handle certain situations? So, yeah, man, this is all about, and then again, on the positive aspect of it, don't try to always look at the negative, because we're like, I guess we're considered the millennials, right? And it is said that we basically go off what the energy is. We don't like to be around nothing negative. So if you got a bunch of negative energy, we don't want to be around those people. So people where we look up to and want to be around are normally people who give off a good positive vibe. So yeah.
Yeah, hey, just dropping in on mentoring. I got kind of two points. One, like coming out here to Memphis, that's been like I feel like one of the biggest blessings since I've been out here. Period, has been being able to be involved with the mentoring program out here. Just being able to see it, they do something that's like a team mentoring program. So it's three mentors and then 6 mentees, and these are like 7th and 8th grade boys. They have like a boys prep school that's owned by the Memphis Grizzlies, and so it's like basically it's 3 and then 6. We meet once a week every day during the school year, and like from that even experience, I feel like I've been getting more like. I done brought up my group to them. It brought me back to those years. And it is like, I get something out of it too. You know what I mean? Like being able to give back my information. And I even have to tell them, bro, we came a long way. They say like what you see today ain't really what was here a couple years ago. Really, like just even keeping it honest with them that it's all about moving forward. And like you can tell by the influence that like even in the mentoring, like at first, it's not even like I think they really get it, but then later you can see the influence you may have. And it brought me back to like a crazy story about influence. It's like my first job, one of my first jobs after I graduated from Prairie View that fall, I worked at the elementary school. I had substituted kindergarten through 5th grade. And then like I remember I had a 5th grade class for like 2 weeks and I really didn't understand influence. They basically gave me, the teacher had pretty much quit. So I had the last 2 weeks before the Christmas semester. Worst class in the schoolhouse. I mean, like, it was so funny because there was people in that classroom there was like a girl. I already knew that was Brandy Allen. You know what I mean? Like 5th, 6th grade. She fought every time you looked up. She getting in a fight. All the girls mad at her, but it's like I just already knew. And they had a little dude in the class who was like shortest dude in the class, dark. Like in my head, I'm like, that's probably what I look like, right? Bad. I'm talking about this boy. They convinced me to do a freestyle battle in class. I let him. And then a dude he was going against him and everybody did the ooh. Next thing I know, he done balled up. He ready to fight, right? So And so the crazy thing is, I didn't realize how much influence, but I remember I had my ears pierced. So I wore it, and I had wore it like I went to school one day with my ear pierced, with my earring in. And like the next week, this boy walking to class, like he walking with his head sideways through the school because he done went home. He done went home and pierced his ear. You know what I'm saying? Like literally coming into class, like, well, you know how it is. And so that for me was like a turning point because I was like, man, these kids is like literally, and like I didn't even like I should have realized how much, like, man, he probably saw me the same way I saw him and was like, man, that dude looked like what I probably looked like in that grade. He probably said, I'm not thinking, he probably looking at me the same way. Like, man, if I get older, that might be me. And like, that was kind of like a turning point for me where I was like, man, I got to really do better because like this dude, like the principal, I got into like principal came up, principal called me to the black lady too. Like my school was off Belford and the Beltway, and she like black lady called me in like, man, what the hell are you doing? like I'm like, oh man, I'm huddling to see the vice principal went to school with both my parents. He went to Worthing, so it was like, man, what are you doing, bro? And like that made me like realize how much influence and like from that experience. But like I also kind of feel like one thing that was missing at that time, right, would have been if there was an older teacher. I'm just thinking of mentor. If there was an older teacher at the school who would have been like, hey, let me, like being mentors for the next generation of leaders, right? Like if it was an older black dude in school, hey, let me holler at you. Say, bro, you can't be wearing no earring up here. You need to do X, Y, Z. Then I could have approached the whole thing differently. Like I literally had no clue. You know what I mean? Like I was just, I'm 20, you know, I graduated. So I'm like 20, 21. I'm first job. I'm trying to do, and I didn't have no mentors at that particular time. So it's like looking at the way you as a person, the people you influence, and then like just the need for people to mentor. Even if you see, if you're a teacher, you know, grabbing the younger, you know, that first teacher, you know, he just came in. And I try to do that now at the Grizzlies. Like I see a couple of black dudes. They was the first little ticket sales reps. Hey, let me holler at y'all. Come to the office. Let me chop it up. You know what I mean? Here's 15 cars and some people who live in Memphis. You could, you know, try to do something because I ain't had it. You know what I mean? And like, and they need it. Not just the kids, but then also the older, like the younger. We getting old ourselves. So like, it's people that looking up to us. That people below them are looking up to. So I think that's real important in thinking of mentoring of like youth and like the up and coming leaders too.
Yeah, that's really why I wanted to talk about this, is because we all got some kind of circle of influence. We all have that circle of influence, and so the other thing I want to talk about is direction. Like me, I didn't really have a direction to go in until I was working and going to school, working and going to school. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Like, I went to a junior college, bro. I was there for 10 years, on and off. Yeah. Think about that.
Yes.
Yeah. A junior college, on and off, just no direction, man.
Hey, boys, made
you know
it.
What I'm saying? Like, yeah, like just messing around. And once I really got focused on what I want to do, then the rest is history. Okay, so as far as mentoring, also giving direction, helping kids understand their direction, not giving them the direction to go, but understanding where do you want to go. I'm going to try to help you get to where you want to go. Does that make sense?
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So helping them with the direction, you know, kind of they have a gift already, helping them see what their gifts and their talents are is also one of our goals. The target I think we should be reaching are, you know, broken homes, males, black, brown. It don't even matter. Just a kid who you see heading in their own direction, just finding that kid and steering them back the right way and saying, hey, you need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. So for me, that's where my passion lies. So when did y'all start, you know, learning about finances and stuff like that, and how to manage money and take care of money and all that stuff? I'm throwing it out there.
Man, about 5 years ago, bro. It was just recently because I was spending everything I got, bro. I was just splurging, wasn't saving a thing, man.
Yeah.
But then I came across, like Al was saying, I came across this dude, man, and he just started. He didn't come at me like he was trying to tell me what to do. He just came at me in a loving way, and he told me, he gave me an example of himself, his own testimony. He told me like, bro, you need to do this and this with your money. So that got me on the path. He started teaching me about mutual funds and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, I've been on it ever since. 5 years ago, though. Oh, man.
Good. Ain't never too late.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead, Price.
No, go, buddy. You good?
No, I was
bro?
just going to say, I was kind of laughing in my head when you was talking earlier about, people mentoring adults. Like I'm the head varsity coach at my school. My freshman coach this year was a 22-year-old, kind of young, feisty Negro, real smart, but kind of had little man syndrome and was always getting into shit. And I feel like I spent half my time this year like going to talk to this nigga, like, you can't wear that, you can't, you can't talk to the parents like this, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, that's Miss So-and-so, she best friends with the boss, like you just gotta smile and take her shit, it's like let's talk to, that was like every day in the, in our world. Even speaking more on what Lou Jack said, it's crazy why this, like the week the pandemic hit, well, the school got canceled. I had 2 or 3 meetings with my boss. I was basically talking to him. He's kind of trying to help me get out the classroom, trying to push me into admin. I was really trying to fight him, like find like an area in between. I didn't want to go into admin yet. Want to spend a couple more years coaching. And the last thing we talked about, he was like, how would you feel about building your own mentoring program, like in-house? Like you got 4 or 5 preps right now. What if I took a couple of your preps? Like I gave you 2 or 3 blocks instead of teaching. You were like running our own in-house mentoring program. Like you handpicked the kids, and we built like the curriculum for it basically from the ground up. We were just talking about how cool the opportunity that's been. It's just, it's odd that you even brought that up. So like I've been like reading basically the textbooks for mentoring programs online like the past couple of months. So like when I do get to sit down with my boss again, like I have the right shit to tell him or whatever. But that might be like a new opportunity, like if we go back to school and shit or whatever that, I may even get to do like some actual, obviously I'm a teacher, our job is mentoring, but like I may even get to like captain my own like specific mentoring program. And my school is all boys and they're all minority boys. So it'd definitely be a pretty
unique. Right. Yeah, that sounds dope, bro. I would look into that, man. That's,
yeah, man.
like that sounds like somewhere you could carve your own lane,
Yeah, man, for sure.
Add another layer to what you're doing, even when you get to being, where you want to eventually go, especially if you like looking to raise up even higher in education. Because if you think about it, man, I think a lot of stuff is going to have to go towards like those alternative, like the additional stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the outside the regular curriculum.
Yeah, we about to be into something new. So like,
oh yeah,
people gonna have to be looking at different ways to do everything.
Yeah, shit, maybe something we can do online. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll be some shit. We be sitting here like this with with my group of kids. You know what I'm saying?
We had a session today. Our mentoring they moved it to Zoom because we met every Tuesday. So we met with all the mentors for like 15, 20 minutes, and then they got a thing in Zoom where then it'll like. You could jump into another Zoom room, you know what I mean? And then we kind of went through our they'll usually have like a binder for the whole year that we go through little steps where you kind of learn different things, empathy, you learn friendship. So they'll have steps, and then at the end, like a project, like a capstone. And so we did all ours. They moved it on Zoom, so that's like the new norm for here.
Yeah. That's cool though, man. That's cool that y'all do that shit for real.
Yeah, it's really a lot from Elliot Perry, man. I from everything I've seen, this dude Elliot Perry used to hoop in the league. That's his thing. Like he really have pushed the organization about that, man. That's some kind of like I was blessed to be in his group, but just seeing it around him, he's super passionate about it, man. I think even just one person being passionate about it, like could change a lot. Cause that's just like I think my boss last year. Black woman, she had like 7 of us. Like she brought 7 new people into the program herself. So if you just think how quick something like that could multiply once it started, you know what I mean? You be the person to plant the seed.
Man, grow into something much bigger.
Yeah.
That's what's up, brother.
Yeah, no, the reason I asked about them finances is because again, just growing up, man, kids don't know about money, man. They treat it like it's just gonna grow on trees. You just always gonna have it. You know, that's why I like when Brian talked, a little bit a couple weeks ago about, finances and, mutual funds and, you know, generational wealth. Like I really took that to heart, you know what I'm saying? So taking what I learned out of that when we talked about that time, I'm taking that to other kids. You know what I'm saying? To the kids that I'm mentoring and say, hey, what's your plans for out of high school? Where you plan on working? You plan on getting a job? You plan on going straight to college? What are you gonna do? How you gonna make money? So these are conversations we need to be having with our own kids, with if you got a couple of guys in mind that you can mentor, these are conversations we need to be having with them as well. Okay, because if they don't have to worry about finances, that's half the problem right there, man. If you
Well, I
live
mean,
in
I think
check to check, 1 week that check don't come, what you gonna do? You're gonna run out in the street try to make some money real quick. That's gonna lead nowhere but jail time or dead. So
I
that's
think for the youth, is giving them examples either close by them or examples that they have easy access to in order to see, because our youth, the only examples they see are from athletes, rappers, entertainers. Those are the only examples that's easy access for them to see. And not understanding the value of a dollar can make a young guy think that Louis Vuitton is what I need to wear. I need to have this Gucci belt. I need to, even though I turned 16 years old, I got this 92 Nissan Sentra. I need to put some rims on it. You see what I'm saying? Need to put some knock in my trunk. All that stupid, ignorant stuff that I didn't know any better, because the only examples that I had that was visible, easy access to me was, hey, let's keep it real. The guys in our neighborhood, you know what I mean? We saw Deshaun, we saw Deshaun, we saw Jared, we saw E-Dub. We had these examples of the guys ahead of us and what they was doing. And I think that's the biggest issue. So then when I got older and had to self-teach myself, also got around my wife's family, got around a different culture, I started to pick up on game real quick. I started seeing these examples, but what I noticed was none of these people looked like me or came from where I came from. So it was still hard for me to grab. So then I had to start researching other guys, right? Like other guys out there. Came across Junior Bridgman. You know what I mean? Junior Bridgman played 5-6 years in the NBA. Y'all don't even know he a basketball player. Junior Bridgman is one of the wealthiest ex-NBA players in the world. He up there with Shaq. He up there with Magic. You talking about crazy wealth. Boy, was a journeyman. Boy got kicked out the league, wasn't good enough. Said, man, I'm about to jump into this Wendy's franchise. The first Wendy's burnt down, saved his life because that Wendy's was about to fold, foreclose, go under. Got that insurance money, teamed up, started learning the business. Dove in, started cleaning his Wendy's, learning how to flip burgers, learning how to make fries, learning the ins and outs of his business. Now that boy got, like he just transferred his whole trust to his kids so that he could be the head of Coca-Cola. But he still got 300 and something franchises. LeBron James coming to him for Blaze Pizza investments. You see what I'm saying? There's stuff like that. But nobody know about that. So I started looking for those type of guys, how they live. You ain't see Junior Bridgman popping up on the scene in Ferrari. You don't see Junior Bridgman with no gold, earring, none of that stuff. I never saw none of these mentors out here. So then I started looking for mentors that lived the way I wanted to live, under the radar, preserve their money, and had something to give back, because there was no examples. The only example in my family was my Uncle Emery, of somebody that had actual money in my eyes. And still watching him manage his money and watching how he was and how he moved, I learned a lot from him. So when you're talking to these kids, you have to give them access or examples of people either around them. It's probably you. Like Al said, you know what I mean? You don't realize how they watching you. If you pop up on the scene, you putting emphasis on your brand new Nikes, you know what I mean, or whatever it is. If these kids know they can't afford it, then the first thing they're going to do when they get some money, they're going to try to get some Nikes like Coach. But the mentor that impressed me the most is one of my current mentors right now. That boy, a third generational farmer from Gilbert, Arizona. You know what I mean? Boy, pop up in meetings with blue jeans on and flannel. Worth well over $1 billion. Got over $1 billion in farmland. Got a ranch that's 63,000 acres. Ranch that's his, that he leased back to the state. Boy, wearing blue jeans, same blue jeans every day, damn near. You know what I mean? But his family, his kids is taken care of. That shit hits me hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So being a young black male, you might be the first string line of your generation to come in your family. So if you set the example and able to pass it down to the kids, like Brian told me on the phone the other day, it's true. We might not be the ones grabbing all the wealth, but we might be leading them, the next generation, into the wealth. You know what I'm saying? To where they could pass it down by our example and how we live, how we stack our dollar, how we save our dollar, how we commit and serve other people in our community. All those things matter. It ain't just about the dollar. Hey, like this one right here, I'm about to kick him out the window. But but teaching them that. And there's examples out there, Jack, of people that had $50,000, $40,000 a year jobs and how they live their life. And then they show you, they 60 years old and they was making just as much as the average worker out there, but the way they stacked their bread was completely different.
Yeah.
And these boys created something special. So I don't know. I think the examples, the kids got to have easy access to it, man.
Yeah.
And that's almost identical to the conversation that me and my brother were having earlier. Because although, y'all know both of our parents, we had really amazing parents. They didn't teach us any fucking thing about money. See, they did the opposite. They taught us very bad, negative, terrible, paycheck to paycheck money habits.
Man, shit, I think
things are like, you just think about like I'm trying to learn now, thinking like I'll never really be rich. But fuck, you want to at least understand, you know what I'm saying? Like you want to really understand the game just so you can give it on to somebody else. So, so I don't do what my dad still fucking do. You know what I'm saying? Like being crazy as hell, not knowing really shit go.
I think you got to learn from what you learn from, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, definitely. I'm pretty sure they made us a tremendous step up from what they
right.
Like, so it's kind of on us that now that we have some of that knowledge, we're able to gain that. One is applying it, and then two, like you said, teaching it to the next generation. It's like sometimes we know, but we still, you know what I'm saying? But just like knowing, applying, and then teaching it. You know what I mean? Just like I think when you learn something, you know what I mean? You got to learn it. Once you know it, you got to do it. And then when you teach it, that's when you can really start mastering it.
Definitely. There's one thing I learned growing up from my mom, like she didn't really teach me about money, but I watched her, it's us four at the house and it's just her. I watched this lady just work her tail off. Yeah. She was a hustler, man. She worked 3 or 4 jobs. We never felt like we was broke. Like, get us anything we wanted. That's the only thing I learned, growing up as far as like when it comes to money. Work your butt off, you can get what you want.
I think we learned I think maybe the level that a lot of us, right? We learned to hustle. You know what I mean? Our folks, most of our folks got to our neighborhood from hustle. That's why we thought they just living paycheck to pay, but shit, they were hustling to get that. Like it wasn't like they didn't have the head start that we had to go do our deals and know a little bit. So one of the things is I think they were kind of at a point where they couldn't teach. They were still trying to hustle just so you could maintain and not need act like, get the shoes you wanted. Make sure you in the neighborhood, at the schools. Like, so we learn to hustle, but it's just like in business, right? You got to hustle. You got a guy who's a hustler, and then you got a guy who could start a business. It's a difference. Like a hustler going to be able to bring it in. and get what you want. The business is going to be able to maintain and grow too. You know what I mean? Like, just like if you're a hustler, man, I can always get money, but I can't keep it. So I got to hustle forever. But if you want to get to the business, then you starting to be smarter. Let me establish this. You know what I mean? It's gonna grow because I'm not spending everything that's coming in. I'm investing what's coming in. I'm putting it back.
How you teaching to break through walls though?
Yeah. Like, and so say that again.
The hard part, like teaching, because y'all deal with kids.
Yeah.
So something bad happened in their life. They get a bad grade, or something don't go their way. You know what I mean? That emotional side, they down. You know what I mean? You take a bad L in the basketball game, you got players that's gonna hit. They might not come to practice the next day. You know what I mean? Like I didn't heard these stories from y'all. So it's that mentality in our youth that needs to be corrected more than anything. It's like, how you gonna teach them to pick themselves up when they take an L and get back up and try to smash through that wall again the next day? And guess what? They might not get it again. But who gonna pick themselves up and try to smash through that damn wall again? You know what I'm saying? Like that's a untalked about topic that needs more emphasis put on it in these kids' head, is the mental side. Because a lot of these kids are mentally weak. And it ain't their fault though. You know what I'm saying?
I think to try to get over those hurdles, actually Al D's godfather put me on this years ago at a Starbucks, and that was Mr. Terrell. And man, he told us, it was me and Nuttall over there one day, and he said, when you really start to look at your life as you get to be an older man, you start to realize that a lot of things that you thought were really important at a certain time in your life really weren't that important. So, and you know, I mean, we're not that old, so we still remember things that happened in our teenage years that really meant a lot to us. Like you thought your world was over because maybe you got an injury, maybe you didn't win a game, maybe you missed a shot, maybe, you know, a girl that you wanted was dating somebody else, but you thought it was a big deal at the time. So I try to use those examples with them as far as like, look, man, I know either myself or somebody else that was in your same position. And I always like to let them know that if you really look at your life in cycles, that's what Mr. Terrell was trying to tell us. If you look 5 years ago, what you thought was important, and then 5 years before that, what you thought was important, you'll realize that, like, man, really, that don't mean anything today. So even when you're talking to a 15, 16-year-old, I'll ask them, like, okay, when you were in 7th grade and you probably lost a game and was crying, you know what I'm saying? Did you get over it? They're like, well, yeah. Well, did you pick yourself up? Did you play well next game? Well, yeah. Did y'all end up still getting to make the playoffs or winning the title? Or, you know, did you get a trophy at the end of that tournament? And they'll be like, well, yeah, on that one we did. Well, there's nothing different with this one. And you'll see that pain goes away. You know what I'm saying? And it ends up not being as important as you really initially thought when you start to put your life in phases. Because when you're 16, certain things are important, but when you're 21, something is different. When you're 30, some is even, you know, something's even more important. When you're 35, things are different. So things come in phases. You just always got to remember, or get them to remember how they felt in certain phases, and let them know that everybody's been there before. And it's not really as important as it may seem in the moment.
And that's a level of confidence that kids gotta get, right? So it's with anything. And you spot on, Brian. I'm glad you said that. I mean, that is a message that I gave to my little sister all the time, and I give to my nieces and nephews, and you know, campers or whatever it is. Look, all this shit. And my wife, she just walked in here, so she know that she done heard this come out of my mouth plenty of times. I tell all these kids, all this shit that you think is important right now, your little clique with your friends, your best friends, the girlfriends, all this shit that you putting all this focus on right now in high school, as soon as you walk across and get that damn diploma and you no longer in that school, that shit go away. It don't even matter no more. Everybody go their own separate ways for the most part. I mean, we were fortunate enough to stick together, but I mean, shit, it was times, you know, with people inside this group chat to where I wasn't as close as we were when we were kids. You know what I mean? Like, but we stayed together through the long haul, fortunately. But like they got, if they don't have a focus point, I know my focus point was. My focus point was, it didn't matter what anybody else was doing. It didn't matter what anybody else said about me. My focus point was straight basketball, and that was it. I was fortunate enough to have something like that no matter what my friends was doing, no matter how they viewed me or talked behind my back and said things like that, all that stuff, like, even though it got back to me and I was sour about it, it didn't take me away from my focus point. You know what I mean? Some kids don't have a focus point. They don't know what they're actually going into life striving to do. And they're just trying to wake up and take the next step, and they don't even know where they're walking towards. Yeah. And that's hard, right? That's hard for a child that has no direction, and they getting all this positive feedback on how they should be and how they should live and the right things that they should do, and they don't even know what direction they're going into. And that's scary, dog, because this world is, the emphasis that's in this world right now, it's set up for kids to fail, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't no, it's no, look, it's nothing out there really that maybe we do have some leaders, but what we supposed to go to school, let me get all these student loans, and then I get this job, now I'm $65,000 in debt. You know what I mean? Like, it's a messed up system that all our kids is being funneled through, and we telling them, man, look, stay in this cage and you'll be all right. Well, the cage don't necessarily work out for a lot of kids that look like us.
Yeah.
So you got to be extra and mentally tough. Being a young Black child, you got to be strong as hell to keep busting through them walls. And you might get a college degree, and still you got to go out into this bullshit ass workforce and find somewhere to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard, bro. Like, that's tough, right? So, like, knowing what you shaping their brains for, like, they got to be fucking bulletproof damn near. You know what I mean? They got to be bulletproof damn near. So, like, that's the challenging part that I find, you know what I mean, looking at the system that's in place for kids. Like, if they don't have a direction or an angle to go to, like I said, thank God mine was basketball. Like, thank God I had something that kept me breathing outside of my faith. That kept me pushing outside of my faith. Thank God I had something. But for kids who don't have nothing, that's rough.
That's good. That's good. That brings to the next point. Helping them set a goal for themselves. Helping them set short-term goals and long-term goals. Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? You know what I'm saying? If we help them in that direction, help them figure out what their goal is and support their goals, we can help them, you know, navigate through this crazy world. And I think as we have our life experiences, we can help them through that. With our little circle of influences, that's our job. I'll take that on my shoulders. I will help you set a goal, help you reach what you want to reach, but you have to do your part too.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Me and my wife, y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my wife were talking the other day, and she was reading this book, and it was basically just talking about like making these big shifts in your life, and like how to like sustain, if you this is your vision of success, how to like get to that point. And basically what it was talking about was like focusing on the little things in your life that make a big difference. And just like, but what you guys were saying is like, first you need to have a goal. Like Ronnie, his goal was basketball, right? All right, a little thing would be, all right, every day I'm getting up early in the morning and shooting 20 jump shots or whatever. And it's like being able to like sit there and just focus on those little minute things. And then, you know, further on down the road, you've already surpassed that point. And like you're able to build upon that. And it's like being able to find those goals, find those, you know, short-term, long-term goals that is going to push you towards life. But then also, what are the little things that you need to do to get there? Like what is some of the things that you need to do to get there? And that's even just not even just for kids, even for us. Like, you know, for me, it's like I know I need to make sure I get to bed at a certain time. Because if I get to bed at a certain time, then my day is better. You know what I'm saying? It's like just making sure they like focus on like what's going on in their life and able to like apply it to where they're constantly trying to reach their goal.
It's funny. I feel like this is one of the advantages I have of coaching where I coach that most people do not have, right? I know everybody in the group chat might know this, but my guys almost never win, right? We play 6A ball. We're not very good. We only got a couple hundred kids. So I have this great group of kids. They're literally amazing humans. They show up every day, and we figure out why we should work hard as fuck to get rolled up again tomorrow night, right? And it's like the best life lesson ever. You know what I'm saying? Because like there's nothing more character building than that. And it's like I texted out in the group chat the link to Angela's little talk. She's like the leading educational scientist on grit, on growth mindset, like on toughness in education. And you may have seen it if you're working in education, but she's really cool to listen to. But it's all about what y'all talking about. How do you grow grit in kids? How do you grow toughness in schools? That's what she does for a living. But it's like that. It's like what Dean said. It's tiny incremental actual tasks that propel you towards some type of growth mindset. And that's all we do. Like you got blew out by 40 yesterday. Yeah, some things are wrong conceptually, but we have to come back and we still have to do like our fundamental work at the same pace at a more harder. You got to do the tiniest things. And like if you can get the kids to grasp that, and then that always spills over to our talks about whatever it is. Like Tor talks about school, Tor talks about family. I got a kid really struggling with his mom and his mom disciple. I'm like, what is something small we could do every day? Let's work at this. So like, what is crazy mom getting upset about? Like, it's just like basketball practice. It's the same thing. And you may not win, but it's like, if you can appreciate that you got a little bit closer, that you got a little bit better, that you grew, that you got more of a, a favorable response back from the world, from your environment. Like, I feel like if you can learn that lesson about anything, you can apply it almost anywhere. And that's like what what we're really trying to teach the kids. You know what I'm saying? We're not showing up to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like the fact that they like I got a kid that started for me for 3 years, man. Like the other coaches are like, damn, that kid plays hard as fuck. He can't even hoop. Like everybody loves him. You know what I'm saying? Like he takes charges, he dives on the floor, and it's like that. And I tell all the boys, like, that's a successful kid. Like, he's bright. He's gonna be a fucking CEO one day or some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's not about the result. It's about the effort, the character. Did we get better? Did we get closer? Are we growing? Are we growing? Are we more connected than we were? Are we better than we were yesterday? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that growth mindset, man. I definitely love that, where it's like about getting better every day, growing even through losses. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's almost to what you were saying, Ronnie. It's like you have to let them know that it's okay to lose. It's almost good to lose. It's good for something to change. I'm glad it didn't go my way, because every day I'm trying to get better. So if I lost, okay, what can I learn from it? Oh, this was a hard day. That means the next day it's another chance to be a better day. You know what I mean? Like, what did I gain from that that's gonna help me grow?
They're saying, to speak to what Hugh said, they're saying schools are training the grit. Elementary schools are training the grit out of our kids because all the questions are pass-fail, right? Your teacher's like, try the problem, right? Well, if you don't know how to do the problem, you get frustrated, right? But in like specialty schools, what they're encouraging the try more than the answer. And that's like where grit is growing from, like a little bitty kid. It's like, how hard can you get them to attempt to do something they don't know how to do?
Yeah.
If your kid is really brave, he'll try a really hard problem and sit there and work at it and work at it and work at it. You're like, oh, that's a successful human. Because he's not afraid. Even really, really smart kids, oftentimes, all the time, they're less gritty than all the other ones because they know everything. So the moment they encounter something they don't know, they're like, I can't do it, it's hard. You see what I'm saying? It's like, you really have to start building up when they're little. It has to be okay when they're wrong. Really, when they're wrong, you should be encouraging them way more to try. You know what I'm saying? To stay in the try of it.
Yep. You're right, dog.
Absolutely.
You're right. Like the greatest blessing in my personal walk with all of this was that I wasn't ever the best player on my team. You know what I mean? I wasn't ever the guy that, I mean, until I got older, yeah. But then when I go play AAU, I go play AAU ball, or Brian in here, 8th grade, I didn't play AAU basketball from ninth all through high school. I wasn't considered good enough to play on the Houston Select or the Houston Hoops. I wasn't invited to ABCD camp. I didn't get those accolades. Like, I didn't get that recognition. Now I'm small as F too. And people laughing at me because that was my dream, to play basketball, and I'm itty bitty. Didn't matter how good I was locally in the neighborhood. I was looking at the freaking globe. I'm not good enough. Because in the NBA, there's what Daryl Wayne told me, every time we getting on this conversation, Daryl Wayne would say exactly how many jobs there was in the NBA.
Yeah.
He would break down the damn percentages every single year to me about how many kids from high school are even gonna play varsity, how many kids that's playing varsity gonna even get a chance to play college, and how many kids is playing college gonna play in the NBA or play professional basketball. He would give me them percentages. So to be honest, I didn't really give a damn about anyone around me. That's not who I was working to be. I was trying to be better than everyone in the damn globe. That was where my brain was. But I had all these failures. Get to damn varsity, I got a coach named Coach Shackle who putting chains on me. Then senior year come around, I'm ready to go. I break my damn shooting wrist. Going to senior year, my best friend, he signed. That boy playing University of Houston. I'm proud as hell. I'm like, okay, he good. He signed as a junior. I'm like, shit, all right, I got to get right. This gonna be my year. Break my wrist. Now I'm sitting there with no scholarship. Season over. And I'm sitting here like, well, everybody looking at me. So now what you gonna do? Well, I'm still gonna play basketball. What the hell you ain't? You better find a damn school that's going. No, I'm playing ball. But I had all these failures though. And people say, man, what if you would have got your size and height while you was in high school? I was like, shit, I probably wouldn't have made the league. Because if I would have been 6'2", 175 as a sophomore in high school, I probably would have been one of the top guards in the damn state, and probably wouldn't have worked as hard, and probably wouldn't have understood failure. I probably would have went to a big time D1 school with a bunch of all-Americans, got all the accolades, and I wouldn't maybe not had the same mindset to work. You know what I mean? Like, all these things happen for a reason, bro. And like, it was a blessing to not be looked at like that. Locally, yeah, whatever, but nationally, I never was nationally ranked. Like, everybody around me that, I go play with some damn young bucks in Dallas, catching a Greyhound to Dallas for practice, getting on a Southwest flight just to go play with some AAU team in Dallas after I graduated high school to try to be seen. Like, all that stuff, bro, like, yeah, that was for one, I don't know, I can't explain it, dog, but I just feel in my heart that if my brain wasn't prepared for them ups and downs, then I would have got to wherever I would have got punched in the face with failure, and I wouldn't have known how to bounce back up.
Exactly. That's why you and Big Ford are such a good juxtaposition of careers in life. May my other big brother rest in peace. You're talking about a human that was born with more talent than maybe anybody we'd ever seen.
For sure.
But that changes how you view difficulty times. That changes your growth mindset. How you view challenges. It forms your work ethic. You know what I'm saying? It has an effect on all that.
Oh, you're right.
I also, man, was again talk to my wife, man. She's really good at a lot of this stuff when we're talking about like growth mindset. She was matter of fact, last night she was like, man, I love it. Because she's a teacher as well. She was like, I love it when I get feedback, and because I want to know what things I can do in order to get better. And it's like having that growth mindset, having that grit is being able to accept the things that you don't want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I need to. You're not good at this in this area. You need to be working on this. Okay, you take that into consideration and then figure out what you're gonna do in order to enhance yourself. You know what I'm saying? For price. Shit, you probably had some areas that you knew you needed to work on, or somebody told you that you needed to work on, and that was part of the reason. Like, man, you had enough grit to listen to that and not like, push that to the side and be like, man, well, yeah, I need to get my shit together. I need to do this. You know what I'm saying? And that's about what, we all need to be doing that. Like being able to take that feedback, being able to, conceptualize it, make sure that it makes sense, and then being able to use that to better ourselves, and then you also have to teach that to the younger generation. You're gonna hear things that you don't want to hear a lot of times, but at the same time, you need to be able to accept it and understand, how is this gonna actually make me better as a human being?
It's real.
Oh yeah, and I guess not to pivot off of the growth mindset, and I don't know if I read it in a book, an article, or I listened to it on a podcast, but as far as for your own kids at home, how you look at them academically and that sort of thing, is they say that, or what I've read or seen, that the majority of real business owners, when you really look at them, they're people that in high school were the D's, C's, and B students. They were rarely the exceptional A student in the classroom. That's because typically people that care to be perfect on worksheets and on tests and on quizzes in school, they typically do not try to disrupt anything. They play the game within the lines that the teachers and professors give them, but also they're risk adverse. They don't want to risk anything. They're not going to think outside the box. The real entrepreneurs, people that are dreamers, people that will take that risk, that they don't mind the potential of having a failure, of making a C in their class or a D, or even just a B. They're not as concerned with that perfection, and that means a lot. So when you're looking at your kids, a lot of times, even with my own 7-year-old, I want him to make sure he's giving maximum effort. So all I talk to him is about the effort that he gives and to concentrate on what he's doing. But I really don't like to talk to him about the grade that he makes on his papers when I see them coming back. I try to leave out the letter grade. I try to more talk to him about, okay, why does your teacher have to put this redo on your assignment? Or on this paper, why did you completely skip the backside of the worksheet? Did you not see it? Were you not focused? Were you doing something else? I talk to him like that, but I don't like to talk to him about the letter grade, because I never want him to get too risk adverse. I want him to be a risk taker, because I'm hoping that me and my wife are setting him up in a situation where he will have those opportunities as he gets older to really get something going.
Because we learn by mistakes, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. We learn by mistakes. That's not gonna change. We always, whatever decisions that we make, we have to learn from that and be able to pursue whatever we're trying to pursue.
That's good, because then when you're, if your kids do make a mistake, and I got to do better at this, especially with my boys, if they make a mistake, just inside the house, not jumping on them right away. And my wife get mad at me because my kids can fall down, and my son just did it. He just dislocated his arm literally last week walking down the stairs in my backyard and popped it back in place. He tough as shit. But thing is, he's sitting there on the ground yelling, dislocated arm. I'm like, well, what did you do, nigga? Like, what happened? Like, let's talk through it. And my wife, I was like, he can't talk right now. Why are you always worried about how it happened? Just be there for them. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm trying to prevent this from happening again. Like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's something that I got to do better at, because I'm always trying to eliminate the risk. But then I think about my childhood. I had Dean on back a dirt bike with no helmet and some flip flops. You know what I'm saying? Like, we riding around, like we was taking all types of risks. So, like, I got to remember that with my kids. but I also remember too, Darryl Wayne, we staying on first floor, second floor of a hotel. That boy ain't trying to be nowhere near heights. You know what I'm saying? And Brian was sneaking down that, you know, to our house or to Aaron Nance house just so he could play dunk basketball. Like I got all these memories of parenting, you know, that we saw, you know what I mean? And trying to figure out my lane with my kids, because I realized I may have taken too many risks. and I don't also want to cage my kids in, because I don't want them, like I read a little passage, I probably have heard this a million times. It's like having a bird caged in, you know, and then all of a sudden they get out of that cage and they don't even know that they're a bird and can fly, because they've been caged in their whole life.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that to my children. I want them to look at the world as a big ass playground, and that there's no ceilings in this world. Like Lil Wayne say, it's no ceilings, but giving them those values to understand that there's no ceilings, babe. I ain't telling you go out there and push no rocks either. My son had a little, you know, that boy had a little side business at recess. That boy was yeah, man, that boy out there selling candy for classroom dollars. You know what I'm saying? Boy was out there, had him a little operation going, you know. So I don't want to take that entrepreneur brain away from him. But I also like, look, man, you look, we can't be, you out there flipping candy at recess, you know what I'm saying?
On the playground.
Like, you know, that boy got snack. He didn't convince all his boys, hey, you ain't eating that? Well, let me hold. That boy putting it in jacket, going outside the recess, flipping it for classroom bucks so he can go and buy candy from the teacher with his classroom dollars.
That's entrepreneur.
I said, Trey, how much money you got? Well, he goes, well, I gave my one friend $15 for his birthday. So maybe like 70. I got like 70 left. And now remind you, they get like $1-2 a week. This boy, you know, this boy had like $100. So, but anyway, it's like that, you know, like trying to like, okay, I like the entrepreneur mindset, but I do know that this can go two ways. Gotta put them in that lane.
That's almost exactly the story that happened at the beginning of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I told y'all, I mean, Hughes, I was starting to read your book, but you know, my big brother was being demanding that I read his book immediately.
You're gonna come first, man.
I had to pause my pleasure read and start reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. Lou Jack, have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I ain't read it yet.
Really great read, man. If you want to read something about like just really easy read about, you know, about finances and growing your finances and all that, and about teaching your kids about finances, yeah, it's a great read. But it's the exact same shit, you know, story Ronnie was just telling. You know, the main character got caught doing some illegal shit when he was 9, trying to make extra money, and that ended up, you know, he had a good mentor that pulled him aside and was like, I appreciate your spirit, you know, about making this money, but you know, there's different ways that we can go, you know, we can go about this.
Hey, B, man, that Bigger Pockets is on point, bro.
Oh yeah,
podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Bigger Pockets, man. If you really looking for, I'm talking about some real life, almost like going to real estate investment school. There's nothing that they won't teach you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll teach it to you on that one. They break it down, and it's just regular people telling stories, which is the way I like it. So it doesn't really feel like you're in like you sitting in a classroom. It really just feels like you're listening to successful people telling you how they did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching it on YouTube a little bit in the morning.
Yeah.
Trying to getting a feel of it. But like, I like the way how he breaking down the numbers. The numbers is real simple, you know, and just giving you like a blueprint of how to look at property, you know.
Yeah.
And
even your own property.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think that their own property is an investment. Your own property is an investment. Like if you know what I mean, you got a house that's $200,000 and you like, yeah, I'm buying this house. Well, shit, even if you sell that thing for $250,000 10 years later, you know, you didn't put more than 50 grand in it over that 10 years. You ain't really putting 50 grand. Like, it's not an asset, I should say. Like, you know, it's not, you know, like it just, like, those books are great reading. Brian got a bunch of them, and I love that y'all boys are diving into that stuff, because, I mean, shit, this is just day-to-day living knowledge that we all need that none of us never learned. And it'll help you budget your own personal finances in a real unique way, to where you really start seeing what you're spending and what's coming in and going out. And then looking at the things that you hold that you consider assets, like cars and home, like, start looking at that shit different. You'd be like, man, I'm about to buy this used car instead of taking the, you know what I mean? Like, you start looking at shit different, bro.
Nigga, that Rich Dad Poor Dad got me thinking I ain't never buying no real house. I'm gonna live in a shack, boy, forever. Look, I'm downgrading immediately. Turning my truck in too.
We moving Saturday, bro.
Oh shit.
You coming down?
Huh?
You coming down this Saturday?
This Saturday, bro. Because I mean, they close schools down, so it's like, I look at it like, it don't make no sense for me to stay here to July. I can move. You know, my rent is month to month. I told my landlord, he's like, shit, man, you know, it's all good. I'm not about to pay no more rent and just go stay with my folks, you know?
Yeah.
And that's crazy. And they actually let you out of New York right now?
Yeah.
I mean, they can't really.
Flight gonna be emptied in the motherfucker.
They might not let his ass in the state of Texas, though. Now that might not happen.
Y'all flying out here, or y'all driving?
Well, my wife and my baby is they flying, and I'm taking that U-Haul.
U-Haul.
Boy, look at you.
I mean, you driving it straight through? How many days you take?
I'm gonna try.
You need an apartment, dog.
I know, bro. Who coming out here?
And you lone wolfing that thing, boy. You a beast, bro.
If it wasn't for that Corona, boy, that'd be a good excuse. Make a little drive with you.
God damn.
Yeah, man, shit. That Corona done changed the whole game up. But yeah, I'm taking that U-Haul Saturday, and it's gonna probably be a 3-day trip, Cheeks.
Hey, that gas gonna be cheap though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you saving there.
Plane tickets gonna be cheap too.
Yeah.
Look, we was trying to get movers, man. Like, we had, you know, a couple people, man, move. Hey, bro, if you trying to move your shit across state lines, and you know, man, them dudes is so shady, bro. I was like, hey, man, I just do it myself.
Yeah.
No, they charged us $3,000 to move all our stuff, and then when they called us, it was like, hey, man, you might want to put another $1,000 in there just in case, you know, you kind of miss.
Who you use?
Tell us about certain things, huh?
Who did you use?
It was like called Roadrunner.
Did you look at? Oh, you already did it.
Yeah, I did. Well,
I used if any of you other brothers start moving, man, always look at that AFB, bro.
AFB?
I don't know. Yeah, okay. AFB. They come and drop the truck off at your house.
Mm-hmm.
You load it, or you get movers to load it in, and whatever space you use, they block it off and they charge you for that space.
Yeah.
Then they come and pick up the truck, drive it across country to your destination, park it in front of your destination, your new home. You unload the damn thing yourself, and then they pick up the trailer and take it off. And that's what I did my whole career. It was always cheaper than any other service. Yeah, so we always did it ourselves that way to save some money.
Yeah.
So even from Utah to California, when we did it, I think it cost us like $2,200, and shit, that was worth it.
Man, yeah, but the only thing here, man, they had so many damn rules out here for, like, because I'm in the city.
Yeah,
so it's like
you can't drive, you can't leave.
I think, yeah, they don't have, like, you can't. You like? Did they drop the trailer down on the? They just dropped the trailer off?
Yeah, they park that thing there. If you say, hey, I can get it done in a day, then the driver would be like, okay, oh, I'll leave the trailer there for 6 hours. You know, if you can fill it in 6 hours, I'll come back and pick it up.
Man, I wish I'd have hit you up about that shit.
And you talking about, nigga, I didn't move 17 times, brother. So, you know, we had to find a
I
system.
don't even know why I even think about not talking to you.
All right.
Yeah, moved 5 times in 1 year, boy.
1 year?
Man, went from Utah to Oklahoma. It got my ass waved. Went from Oklahoma.
You had a two-year contract still, though.
Went from Oklahoma back to Utah.
Yeah.
Then had to pack my shit up again. Went from Utah to Phoenix. That's 4 times, and then had to come back to Utah. Phoenix back to Utah. 5 times in 1 year.
Man, bro, that's stressful, dog.
Crazy.
That's
Bless you.
you see my house right now, bro. You be like, man, this nigga on crack. My shit look terrible right now, dog.
Man, I think one of y'all touched on it earlier, man, about the mentor. I think the greatest mentors that you can have is peers too, man. So,
yeah,
you know, your peers like this right here. Because I learned a lot from y'all today. You know, first off, Lou Jack, appreciate your story. You know, sharing that. You know what I mean, like, and your passion for it is clear. I get it. You know what I mean, and God has definitely put all you brothers in position to, you know, impact these kids' lives on a major level. You know, more than people even realize. And Cheeks, you know, what you were sharing, Brian, Al, B, Brett, you know, Nigel, all y'all, like, I learned something because now I can implement some of y'all methods from actually being in the schoolhouse with all different types of kids, right? Now I can learn and implement that with my own boys, you know, and my daughter, but also when I go and it's just a good reminder when I go and speak to kids, you know, the way I dress matters. You know what I mean? If I come in there dressing professional, and they see a young black athlete, black male, who ain't coming in there necessarily looking like an athlete. You know what I mean? Like showing them that transition, like, nah, I'm more than, I talk about it. You know, you talk about being more than just an athlete. I talk about being more than an athlete, but actually my physical appearance, like Al was saying, like just a little earring thing, like, you know, I took mine out soon as my son was born. So I get it. Soon as my son was born, shit, Lou Jack was the first one rocking earrings. Shit, I had my little bullshit magnets in. You know, when I got older, I had them magnet boys because my mom was like, "Nah, you ain't piercing your ears up in this house." You know what I'm saying? But then when I got on my own, I pierced them things. I had the magnet joints, but I took mine out, and my son's so aware. He was like, "Dad, you had earrings?" Because he looked at my wedding picture. I got earrings at my wedding. He like, "Dad, you wore earrings?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was, you know, I had to grow, son, you know."
Explain it to him. Yeah.
You know, like, but it's like shit, man. Like there's little things like Brian said from Mr. Terrell, you know, your godfather, like, you know, those things are real, bro. Like the things that we think are so important now, you know, in our lives, even the things that we worrying about, fellas. Like, think about the things that you prayed for, meditated on, and thought about when you was fresh out of high school. You know, now go 10 years from now, the things you thought about 5 years from now, the things you thought about 5 years ago, and now you look at your life right now. Like Al, you're a perfect example of that too. You know what I'm saying? Look at your life 5 years ago and where you was, you know, thinking in your mind, your vision board, what your vision board looked like, and look where you are now. You know what I mean? Like all these things that we put an emphasis on and we worrying about, you know, like as men of faith, you write down where you want to be, not where you are now. You write where you see yourself being 10 years from now. And then you put your prayer out there, dog, and then you let God handle the rest. Like one thing I guess that I'm gonna share with y'all is like from a faith standpoint is we read the word, right? And we say we don't worry. Well, if we don't worry, then why do we say the same prayer over and over and over again? So in my mind, I'm like, faith, from a faith standpoint, God know my prayer before I even say it. But I'm still gonna say it though. But I'm gonna say it once, and then I'm trusting my faith that I let it go. I said my prayer. I let it go. Now I'm using my faith to believe that what God heard me say, He's gonna put into action. I'm moving on now. If I'm constantly praying about the same thing over and over, I'm not trusting. I'm not trusting, fellas. So like that's the way my brain works. And I can meditate on it, but why am I steady having this conversation back and forth with God over and over and over and over? That means I never let go.
Yeah.
I never let go of it. I'm still holding on to it, and I'm still hoping that He heard me. I'm not trusting that He heard me the first time, or even knew what I was going to pray before I even opened my mouth. So this is something to think about, like, man, trust your faith, man. Trust your relationship, man. Like, trust it in all areas of your life, even with your children. Every single one of us come from a heavily prayerful person in your family. Somewhere down the line, you had somebody that was praying for y'all, praying for us. You know what I mean? Like, they did that already. So now what are we doing for our family? What are our prayers like for our own personal life, and are we trusting it? So just something to think about, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I had something real quick. I know Herb don't look like he on tonight, but I definitely tried to be do a better job being a priest in my own household. So we actually did a family prayer on Sunday morning because can't nobody go to no real church services. So we all got together upstairs, and then we actually watched service all together on streamed off my TV. So anyways, I was definitely trying to implement some of the things that we have been talking about, especially what Brother Herb was telling us just last Tuesday. And then as far as just even having the right people in your life and just being able to look at things at a different perspective. Al D, I swear to God, you my only hope for my 7-year-old. He's smart as hell, but mischievous in the motherfucker. And I always remember how much of a terror you was in elementary school. And I say, man, maybe he'll end up like my boy Al D one day, man, and actually be a real productive adult here in this world and get something done. Because this boy here he be giving them teachers the blues. I'm going to just let you know. I had to step outside to tell you that, man. but Al, you my only hope. I say, man, I hope he turn out like
Hey, look, it can happen, man. You just got to follow that energy, man. That's a good thing. It can happen, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Brian? To add to that, look, I can learn so many spiritual things from y'all brothers. I mean, from Dean being the first person that told me about what it means to be saved, walking to school. I told you that on your wedding day, Dean. I'll never forget that. Dean was the very first person that taught to me about that whole lesson. Came from my brother. He was in the 5th grade. I was in the 4th grade. I'll never forget that. And we walked him to school. And that boy broke down that knowledge, backpacks on, walking the land out early a.m. in the morning. But anyway, another thing is like, I ain't telling you I'm not asking y'all to like let go of your prayers. I'm saying like, even with your son, B-Shell, like just all those ups and downs or all those hard times he giving them teachers. You know what I mean? Like being grateful even for those moments with your children is what I'm starting to try to learn and just be like, God, thank you, I trust you. And I know you working on him just like you worked on me. And I just pray, Father, that that you give me the words to say that align with the things that you're doing personally in his life. And like even when you say your prayer, just still saying thank you throughout even when it pops back, when that worry pops up in your head, just not praying about it again, just saying thank you, because you know that he's working in your benefit. You know what I'm saying? And
in here, man.
No, seriously, just being grateful for it all. Just saying thank you is powerful more powerful than I ever could imagine. But when I look back at my life, you know, and the depression that I faced from the damn game and the ups and downs, the mental emotions and all that shit. And then when I learned just to say thank you and I trust you, the weight off my shoulders became minimum. Like, I mean, it was just like it let go. It just relieved me just by saying thank you. Even in my hardest times, dog, saying thank you. So I don't know, man. Hopefully that hit, you know, for,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
Yeah. My final word is that, you know, just y'all just continue to inspire and teach the next generation, man. They need it. Y'all know they need it. And if not you, then who else? You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
That's real. I appreciate that, man, for real.
100. Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all, boys. This the real deal, man. I need it every week, like B, you said, man. I'm trying to take little bits and incorporate. We writing our finances down. We praying together. So, man, I appreciate it from y'all, man. We need. I need it. You know what I mean? For sure.
It's the reason why we here. It's no mistake. I'll tell you that. God don't make mistakes, and it's the reason why He got us together. And we might not know what it is or the reason right now, but you know, we might be laughing about these Zoom calls 5 years from now.
Yes,
so stay aware in the situation, man, and love y'all brothers for real.
Hey, God know what He's doing, man. He know what He's doing for sure.
For sure, man. I'm gonna jump. Dang, battery tripping again on me, man. But I'll get with y'all boys next week.
All right.
Hey, be careful, Dean.
Hey, Cheeks, I'm about to put Cheeks on the spot though. I see you gone. Where you at?
It's him. Is Cheeks next week?
Yeah, I'm putting Cheeks on the spot. I need some of that. You know what I'm about to say. I need some of that poetic justice. That boy Cheeks over there, poetic as hell, boy. Now look, don't let Cheeks fool y'all. Cheeks special, dog. I'm putting you on.
Man.
Hey, listen, I'm putting that boy on blast, man. We need some of that alchemy over here, brother.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Dean, be careful on that drive, man. Be safe.
Hey, man, appreciate it, man. I definitely, I should be there back in the South on Tuesday, so I'll meet y'all up on Tuesday, dog.
Hey, just let us know.
Looking forward to it.
Yes,
y'all have
sir,
a good one, man. Love y'all boys, man. Y'all have a good
one. Love y'all, man.
All right, man. Love y'all, man. Appreciate it, Lou Jack.
Take care. Yes, sir.
All right.